Hey everybody, we're back with another episode of Stop Doing Nothing, and this time I am lucky enough to have Geoff Ronning, and hopefully I pronounced that right, sir?
Yes, you did.
Geoff Ronning, who runs, I think, a couple of things, but the main thing I know him for is Stealth Seminar. Actually, I know him for two things, Stealth Seminar and boxing. And some of my questions are going to be kind of around how those two things, or how business and boxing themselves kind of, intertwine with each other. So for people that don't know you, Geoff, can you just give us a quick idea of what you do on a daily basis and where you're located?
Absolutely. I reside in Litchfield Park, which is just west of Phoenix, Arizona. And I reside with my wife and my son, who's named Riddick, after Riddick
Okay.
Bowe, actually, a boxer. And on a daily basis, I work on webinars. I help people improve their business utilizing webinars. And we have a webinar software called Stealth Seminar, which is the longest running automated webinar software in existence.
Right. Yeah, I've recommended it quite a bit. I'm not currently using it myself, but in every Facebook group I'm in, whenever anyone's looking to do live or recorded or any kind of hybrid webinars, I am always sending them there. I was talking to somebody else earlier today about another interview, and he was looking to get into webinars, and that came up in that interview. So I'm hopefully sending some business, your way there, because I have seen over the years that I've been in digital marketing, other products kind of come and go, but stealth has always been there. And I know that, the big names that, the CODs, the Russes, the things like that, those people are, you can't argue with a company that uses a product that just makes them, millions of dollars a month. So, kudos to you for having such a popular product. Kind of, because I like to talk about the beginning days of business and lessons like that, can you kind of tell us what it was? What did you do before you did webinar software? I've always wondered about that.
Sure, absolutely. And thank you very much for always supporting us, Patrick. Much
My
appreciation on that.
pleasure.
So before, if I take you back, where I learned the bulk of all my business, I guess you'd say education, I was a performer. I started very, very young, got in trouble in 6th grade for hypnotizing kids at camp.
Right.
Got in trouble that same year for hypnotizing boys in the bathroom, which
Oh
now
my
sounds
God.
really freaky, but back then, it wasn't,
It wasn't for bad reasons. It was just for entertainment, for fun.
just for entertainment.
Right.
That's right. That's right. These days I would be like, but anyhow.
Yeah.
So, and that led to a career in stage hypnosis. And so
Okay.
I performed all over the United States. Also became a instructor of hypnosis through the National Guild of Hypnotists. And that was the beginning. In fact, when Stealth Seminar was created, it was initially, it was never created with the idea of releasing it to people. It was created for my own business because I was doing a lot of webinars for people that I was mentoring and training around the world to become better stage hypnotists.
Okay. So you kind of created a tool, or was the beginnings of the tool, I guess, to you help facilitate your other business? Is that what it sounds like, correct?
100%. I've always been a big automation guy. And so I was doing, these webinars and doing teleseminars that were extremely successful, very important to my business. But I got to the point where I just wanted to hit my head against the wall every time because I had to do these.
Right.
So I just said, well, I'll go hire a company to automate these. And lo and behold, no one was automating them at the time. It didn't exist. So
about what year was this?
This would have been in, let's see, we've offered it now for over a decade.
Okay.
So this would have been like 2007.
Okay.
Yep.
So, wow. So you've been doing, the beginning iterations of what is now Stealth Seminar, you've been doing that for what, 10 to 13 years?
Yeah, 13-ish years. Yeah.
Okay. And back, web video has really only gotten easy, in the past, I would say, not even 10 years, maybe 5 years. Web video has gotten really easy. So what did back in 10 years ago, 11 years ago, how would someone do like what we're doing now, like put up internet video? It wasn't as easy back then.
No, it wasn't as easy, but you still had Citrix,
Okay.
the big guy,
Right.
GoToWebinar, and you had a couple other various of those types, and so you just do the webinar the same way. The difference is not as many people could watch it, because
Right.
they didn't have the internet speed that there is now.
Right.
Which is why at that time, really, teleseminars were the more popular option.
Okay, got it. So with the advent of better bandwidth and things like that, because I know even at home I have like better bandwidth than I have at work, so that really helped kind of the automated, maybe kind of helped people doing seminars scale. Do you think that's what the bandwidth, the kind of the popularity of the internet really helped with?
Yeah, I think it definitely helped with that. I think it made it easier for everybody not only to deliver webinars, but also attend them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it also brought about all the things like Netflix and
Right.
all of that stuff, because that would have been a very challenging thing to do, like say in the 90s or something.
Yeah. The internet has, I'm not a young pup by any stretch of the imagination. I know the internet is basically, it's come close to becoming a utility now, where before it was kind of a novelty. I've been doing internet stuff actually since pre-internet. I used to dial into bulletin boards, and on a bulletin board, you had a special email address that would allow your email, which normally would just only stay on your bulletin board, it would allow your email to like go out over the internet to another bulletin board. And I think it would like use the internet to get across from one bulletin board site to another bulletin board site. And then I eventually got to dial up. And then, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to figure out the time frame, but at some point in time, we had, I ended up with a dedicated Cox line in my house, like we do now. So
yeah, no, that was way late, but right, like that was way late, because before that you had things like, AOL and all that good stuff. Yeah. I used to dial into the BBS boards.
Yep. I even contemplated running one at some point, but it required a lot of resources. But I had a war dialer at one point. I was really nefarious as a kid, and I would use after my mom went to bed, I would like set up my computer, just like dial all night till like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, looking for numbers. And I was never a war games kind of guy, but people, when that movie came out, people said, Patrick, I've seen you do some of the stuff that they do in war games. So now, really quick, I want to kind of jump to the boxing, and I'm just kind of curious how these two connect. You're kind of do you still box yourself, or are you just a big fan of the sport?
I still box myself.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan.
So what?
Yeah, so the boxing I do is amateur boxing. It's not like Tough Man. It's more, Tough Man's more like just kind of bar sort of stuff. Right. Amateur boxing that I do is sanctioned by the USA Boxing Association, which is the same sanctioning body that sends people to the Olympics.
Okay.
So they have divisions for older guys like me. So I compete with that. Yeah.
Got it. I'll attest to being an older guy.
Yeah.
So what got you? Was that just the thing to stay healthy? What kind of got you into boxing?
Yeah, I had been a fan ever since I was, in my teenage years, big fan. But when I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, the doctor said, listen, you got to start working out. And, I hadn't worked out since I was in high school in PE,
Right.
And so I thought, well, it had never occurred to me to try boxing,
Mm-hmm.
but so I gave it a try and loved it. And so now
So,
I own a lot of belts and titles
right.
from tournaments. And yeah.
So even so in the division that you're in, there's other like still competitions and tournaments and things like that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, we're recording this in the middle of July of 2020. What's going on with the pandemic affecting the boxing world in your life?
Yeah, so it's pretty much on hold.
Okay.
USA Boxing, the sanctioning body, the organization that's in charge of all legitimate amateur boxing in the United States, is not having any competitions. They're not allowing any competitions. So everything's kind of on hold.
Crap, that's no fun. So, but you're still, please tell me you're doing something still to stay healthy, right?
I should be doing more, but I was diagnosed with COVID about just over a month ago. So
Whoa.
I haven't returned back to it. But I obviously I intend on it.
Right. Okay.
Probably next week.
Wow, I did not realize that. So, but you've got a clean bill of health now, right?
Better than ever.
Better than ever. Okay, it's good stuff to hear. Okay, so I was always wondering about the boxing thing. So now getting back to business and stealth seminar, what kind of, and I'm just trying to educate people that don't know a lot about stealth seminar because I do. Are there a particular area of businesses that work really well with that automated webinar stuff, or are you finding it's just kind of across multiple niches that automated webinars work very well with?
Across across an array of niches, Patrick. I mean, anything where your job is to develop a relationship, demonstrate your knowledge, educate people, communicate with people. So it can be everything from the early adapters, of course, would be like the info product sellers.
Right. That's the world I'm in. Yep.
Yeah. So, geez, I mean, everything from attorneys that are looking for clients for accidents, elective surgeons who are looking for patients. We have a lot of hospitals that do educational things on a daily basis.
Okay.
We have we have driving schools that use our system.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, the most interesting one, and I haven't looked to see if they're still with us, but we had a company out of Texas that sold rockets, like rockets into space, that was using our system. So,
like model rockets or the bigger ones?
The bigger ones to send things up into space, like satellites and whatnot.
So like a wannabe Elon Musk type company.
Exactly. And so we get people, it works out, really, really well for a lot of people.
Is the only style of webinar I'm familiar with are some of the ones in the thought leadership space where people are basically using, a kind of free webinar to lead to a phone appointment or to lead to a sale, or to lead to a conversion, something like that. Is that what most kind of automated webinars are for? Or are some of them just informational and there's not really a sale thing on the other end? I'm just kind of curious if people are watching this, when they might think that an automated webinar might be a good thing.
Yeah, we've got them for people that are generating leads, like you're talking about.
Right.
We've got them for people that are straight up educating people. Okay. We're delivering this on Parkinson's today at 2 and 4 o'clock, or whatever it happens to be. We've got people that are selling courses with webinars, and then we've got people that are selling courses with webinars that are then delivered via automated webinars.
Okay, so on the front end and the back end.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So Another part of the, kind of the questions I want to ask you about were this is, what's called a SaaS, software as a service kind of thing. And so you had to have a development team involved. And so I want to talk a little bit about that for people that might be watching this that, want to run something like a SaaS. When you were first working on this, did you you yourself had to get your hands dirty in the code and help build this? Have you always had developers? Have you always outsourced it? What's it like kind of in the beginning stages of building a SaaS service like Stealth Seminar?
Yeah. So when I first said to myself, you know what, this doesn't exist, I think I'll make it.
Right.
I had no idea how challenging it would be. I had never coded. I don't know anything of a technical nature. Even to this day, like if you told me, hey, Geoff, go install this WordPress theme, I
couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it. So what I did is I went to multiple developers that I knew, and I'd say, hey, here's what I want to create. And they'd give it a try, and they couldn't do it, because everybody kept thinking, well, even today with a lot of our competition, what they think they're making is a video player, and you're not making a video player. I mean, that's, what you need to make is a streaming software. I mean, it's got to be streaming just to, it's got to be the same exact streaming as if it was streaming live, right? Because otherwise it just gets hokey, and I didn't want it to be hokey. So it took me multiple people, a couple years, and then I happened to mention it to this fellow that I was mentoring with stage hypnosis.
Okay.
And he said, I made something kind of similar to this on Real Audio. So that's going back a few years.
Yeah. Okay. Real Audio and Real Player. I remember those.
And he said, let me take a stab at it. So this guy was 100% self-taught, never took a class in his life.
Right.
And he was actually able to create the software. So I started using it. People started seeing what I was doing, and they said, hey, can I use this software you're using?
Right.
And I went back to him. His name's Chris Frolick. And I said, Chris, what do you think about taking this software and turning it into, an enterprise level tool that we can offer people?
Right.
And so he and I have been partners since then. He is not involved in we're still partners, but he's not involved in the current development of it, only because, development's kind of a young person's game, man. So what I've found is that, a lot of people, that they start in development and then they kind of, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, they're not doing the development. I mean, there's a whole new batch of generations that have come up that are more in tune with what you need now.
Right.
So, but that system he made is still running. It's our legacy software.
Okay.
We want people to get off it. We've been trying to move them off it for over a year onto our new software. And we're finally going to be shutting that legacy down soon.
Got it. Well, people must love it. Even if the legacy stuff is working, it's hard to get people off of it. You must be doing something right there.
Yeah.
And I'll definitely agree with you that software development is a young person's game. That used to be my game. I thought, when I was 13, 14, probably all the way up until the age of 30, I had no problem, losing a week or a weekend, with my face buried in a code editor, totally avoiding anything like, bathing or sunlight or things like that. And, eventually you get to the point where you're like, there's more to life. There's, for me, it's flying. For you, it's boxing. There's more to life than being stuck down coding stuff. So I literally burned my bridges, not literally, figuratively, burned my bridges one day. And I took like all my PHP and MySQL books and like walked them to the local library, put them in the back of the car, drove to the local library and said, nope, no more. Because I used to have shelves. Now my shelves are full of like business and philosophy and strategy books. Before, my books were full of like Microsoft.net books and software development books. So I just had to get rid of those someday and get out and do some things in the real world. Okay.
Yeah, well, flying is certainly a cool hobby.
It is. I'm going to be, let's see, today is what, Thursday? I should be in the air Saturday morning, weather permitting. We live in Oklahoma, and so we can go from, being 93 degrees to having torrential rainstorms in a couple of hours to having, torrential thunderstorms a few hours after that to possibly snow. I mean, who knows? Oklahoma's known for having 4 distinct seasons, and sometimes it feels like you get them in the same day.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, weather permitting, I'll be up flying Saturday. And yeah, it is the thing that is just really, really juices me and lets me have a good time. Okay, so I'm a business, and I want to now. I'm in the thought leader space. This is somewhat of a true scenario. I'm a member of the National Speakers Association, and now that I cannot travel as much as I used to, does it make sense for me to start looking at something like Stealth Seminar? I mean, is that part? Have you seen business increase, I guess is my question, like the past 3 or 4 months at all?
Yes.
Okay. So because people can't travel and present in person, the Stealth Seminar has been like a good alternative for like people being on stage.
Correct. Yes. A lot of speakers, a lot of experts are moving their business to a virtual environment. Yes.
Right. Now I know you do hybrids. I know you do live with and recorded. Is most of the stuff though the recorded or pre-recorded kind of broadcast software, kind of webinars?
Most of it, yeah. When if you say the majority is definitely the automated. Yep.
Got it. And how much are you spending most of your time these days actually working on the software or basically helping people design the webinars? Because I know you said in the beginning there you actually help people build the webinars. Is that a big part of your day these days?
Yeah. It's helping people improve their retention, help them to generate more conversions.
Right.
Yep, all aspects of their webinars.
Got it. Okay, I always like to I know I kind of jump back and forth in the timeline here, but when you first decided to call this a actual money-making, revenue-generating business, and was that something it sounds like something that wasn't really planned, it was just kind of something that you kind of fell into because you had a product that you used that other people liked and they wanted to start using it. So if I'm kind of correct that this wasn't like a formal thing that Geoff planned with like a business plan, a lawyer and everything, you just kind of fell into it, right?
100% fell into it. There was a couple people on that other list that were in the online marketing world.
Right.
And they saw what I was doing and said, hey, can I use this? We had never, in fact, even when we got to the point where we said, okay, well, let's make this tool.
Right.
We never envisioned it lasting this long. We never envisioned it being this type of success.
Right.
Never. I mean, it's crazy at this point in time, it's just, it's impossible. At that time, you couldn't even imagine, the lives it would change, the business it would generate, the accolades it would receive.
Oh yeah, those are awesome. You've got some good testimonials on your website.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling.
Accidental success. You stumbled into accidental success, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's a good thing to stumble into.
Oh yeah, some of the accidental stuff that happens in this life and in this world are much better than the planned stuff.
Yeah.
I always like to give people also some kind of lessons from early startup stuff. So can you think of anything that in those kind of early days, and it doesn't have to be maybe SaaS related, maybe business related or pricing related, if you were to give someone some advice of going that route, what kind of things can you think of back in those early days, like 8-9 years ago, after you were established, but before you were as big as you were now? What kind of lessons can you think of from back from those days?
Well, if I go back 8 or 9 years ago, what have I learned since then? I would say Patrick, the biggest lessons I learned were really back prior to that, like in my 20s, from business overall.
So like in the early hypnosis day, okay, so there's a good question. So like when hypnosis was your business, it sounds like when you learned a lot of lessons, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So let's go, so we can pull something back from there. What kind of things did you learn when you were first going on the road as a stage hypnosis that would be good for me to know as a business starting up today?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing I learned, and I remember the exact time I learned this, and I was in Ballard, Washington, and I was incredibly successful, but then what would happen is I would be experiencing this big success, right? And I think, great, I'm set. I'll never have to work again, and and then I'd go live it up. Right. And then, of course, what would happen is my business would go down here like this.
Oh,
and so I think the biggest lesson I learned in my 20s is to make sure that you're always marketing. You're always marketing, and to realize that, there's no doubt that there's a lot of businesses that fail out there. The majority, no doubt about that.
Oh, yeah.
But the fact of the matter is running a business is not that hard. If you're able to identify your customers and give them what they want, I mean, that's really how simple it is. And I think when I was in my 20s, I wasn't marketing on a regular basis. I'd market for a while, have all these shows, be great, and then the shows would stop because I stopped marketing.
Right.
And I think people make building a business harder than it has to be. I think as long as you identify a market and give them what they want, I mean that's it. But there's a lot of people that can't even do that. And I think that's a benefit to people like me and you, because that makes us running our business so much easier, and it makes us look so much better, right? when our, and I don't want to name anybody because I'm just talking in a general sense, but if you have competitors that can't even answer an email within a couple of days, when you answer it, right away, that makes their job way easier. So it sounds basic as hell, but what I would say is just make sure that you're continually marketing, and make sure, and I don't mean sleazy in any way. I just mean don't let off the marketing just because things are great today.
So marketing is not this kind of occasional thing that you work on, one day or 1 week out of the quarter. It's just a nonstop.
It's a continual activity. It's not an event. Yeah.
Got it. I've often said that, and I'm kind of curious if you have any marketing cliches you used. One of the ones I've used over the years is that great marketing of a mediocre product will make more than crappy marketing of a great product.
Oh, I 100% agree.
So you don't have to have the coolest, highest tech. I mean, Stealth Seminars technology, I hear, is amazing, but you don't have to have the coolest, highest tech, shiniest object in the room, but you can market, something less than stellar, and great marketing will make a lot more money of that. I'm not going to say poorly designed thing, but less than stellar designed thing, because great marketing to me is just what makes the big difference in most of these cases.
100% agree.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that McDonald's does not have the best hamburgers. We can all agree that some of the more popular brands out there aren't necessarily the higher quality brands, but they have some killer marketing.
They have some killer marketing. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the lesson people want to take away from this is the marketing there. Is there anything that you have coming up that people should know about? I know you're kind of getting off of the legacy version of Stealth Seminar to people come the new version, but is there anything kind of new and exciting coming up in the Stealth Seminar world people need to know about?
You know, we're always designing stuff, obviously. We're always coming up with new tweaks to everything. So we release those updates, you know, multiple times a month.
Right.
You know, but I'm kind of looking forward though to the future of Stealth Seminar, and this isn't like in the next week or two,
right?
You know, but what I'm envisioning is like Stealth Seminar being able to, you know, project someone straight into someone else's living room and give a presentation, you know, and make that seem as if it's live, you know.
So you heard it here first, people. There's going to be a Stealth Seminar 3.0 that's going to be holographic based, right?
Exactly.
Holographic based. Okay. Very cool. You are definitely one of the top people on my list to interview, and so I really do appreciate your time. Again, if people don't know a lot about Stealth Seminar, I know they can go to the website and you eat your own dog food, because when you go to Stealth Seminar, you can register for a webinar that you put on talking about Stealth Seminar, correct?
Correct, yeah.
And the website is stealthseminar.com or .app?
.com.
Okay. So if no one here is familiar with it or they want to learn about it, you can ask me about it and I'll tell you about how good it is, because I've seen it used so many places. Or go over to stealthseminar.com and, you know, register for Jeff's webinar, which he teaches you on how to do webinars. I have to admit, I've cheated multiple times, and I've registered on that thing multiple times and watched it multiple times, because you also give like some really good downloads also. And
yeah, well, thank you.
Yeah, it's a really great course. And if anyone, I mean, Geoff gives it away for free. And so you're going to get value of it, even if you don't use the tool. But of course, we want you to definitely use the tool. So Geoff, man, I just wanted to talk to you for about a half an hour, and this is about our time today. And I just wanted to, I really wanted people to know more about this, because it's such a great tool. I knew it was a good tool before, you know, I saw the COD group use it, and now they rave about it. And it's just, like you said, it's just changed people's lives. So great work, sir.
Thank you very much, Patrick. It's been a pleasure and an honor. Thank you.
Likewise. We'll talk again soon.
Okay.